If your chicken stock is cloudy and tastes a bit thin, you already made a mistake, and it usually happens in the first few minutes. Now fix this and your cooking will never taste the same again. And once you see it, you won't be able to unsee it, because by the end of this, you know exactly how to fix it, and your cooking will never taste the same again, because chicken stock is one of the most important things that you will ever cook. I mean, let's be honest, chicken stock is the backbone of everything. At Marco Pierre White, where I was a head chef, we used it for soups, for very fine sauces, to cook vegetables, fondant potatoes, risottos. And in my own highly awarded restaurant, I used it the same way, but I also glazed with it galantines and ballantines. Now, chicken stock is everywhere, from the best kitchens in the world to your home cooking. So the real question is, if it's that important, why is nobody teaching it properly? Why is something so fundamental treated like it's boring? Well, I'll tell you, not anymore, because by the end of this video, you understand chicken stock on a level most people never will. And the best part, you won't need tricks, you won't need gimmicks. So let's start before we even start cooking, because this is where most people already go wrong. Frames, defined for flavor, but not for depth. That comes from drumsticks, wings, even feet, which are hard to get. Some chefs are turkey for that reason, but today we stay focused, just chicken, including leftover bones from your roast chicken. And now, something you've probably done before, without ever questioning it. Bones go into cold water after washing. Yes, washing, and yes, cold water. No one explains this, but they should, because if you want to clear stock, you need to remove as many loose proteins as possible. Boiling them off takes away too much flavor. And here's what happens. As the water slowly heats, those loose proteins separate and rise. Slow heating allows them to connect properly, to form a solid gray foam. But here's the mistake most people make. They rush it. Too much heat, too fast, and those proteins cannot form properly and stay fine-grained. And then they're hard to catch, and they dissolve or stick to the pot sides or on the bottom. And now you have cloudy stock, even grainy stock, sometimes also a slight bitterness. So instead, slow heat, one full boil, and then the foam binds perfectly. Then you skim only once. Before that, it's like trying to catch a cloud. If you get this one step right, you're already ahead of most cooks. Now, another one. Why no lid? You think a lid helps. It doesn't. An open pot gives you temperature control on the top. And something else happens. A natural lid forms. A thin layer of fat, and that layer is gold. That fat, don't throw it away. That's future roast potatoes. But more importantly, it regulates temperature, reduces evaporation, and helps impurities collect where you can remove them. Put a lid on, you trap everything cloudy stock. So leave it open. Clarity. So let's see that in action. Now something chefs talk about but rarely explain: single and double chicken stock. It has to do with time. So a stock cooked for 2 to 3 hours, that's a single stock, because 2 to 3 hours, light body. 7 to 8 hours, that's where it turns silky. Now we are talking. That's what depth, body, and that almost silky texture. It comes from the higher amount of gelatin. However, the longer cooking will make your stock slightly cloudy. And we compare them all later. But first, let's make something you can actually eat tonight. A clear soup. a bouillon, a meaty one with a twist. Now, you'll be absolutely fine just using bones, but it pays off deboning your own chicken. Now, I chop the bones so they can release all the flavor. I wash them. Some chicken meat I dice, and don't worry, nothing gets wasted. Into a pot, quick boil for 5 minutes, then strain. And that's how chicken stock gets clarified in Chinese cooking. That meat, perfect for something else later, a soup risotto. And now we're ready for the stock. Bones, chicken water, and now we bring it to a slow boil. Remember, no skimming beforehand, and yes, no vegetable. Now that might surprise you, because Michelin chefs often leave vegetables out altogether. They're not trying to make something to eat, they're building a pure meat stock, something they reduce down, which could make liquid stock cubes, and then layer it with other flavors, like in a red wine sauce. But this is for eating. So instead of adding vegetables too early, where the flavor peaks and then slowly fades, and often even becomes unpleasantly bitter or soapy and discolors, or cause a change in consistency when the vegetables start to fall apart, we do it differently. We add them later as an infusion. That way we get the best of both worlds, a deep, rich chicken stock with fresh, vibrant vegetable flavor. So I let this cook for about 2.5 hours. Then I turn off the heat and let it rest for another 30 minutes. This is one of the quiet steps, but it matters because it gives any remaining loose proteins the chance to settle at the bottom, and that means an even clearer stock. Now strain carefully, even through a muslin cloth. Remember the proteins on the bottom? And now the nicely diced vegetables go in. Bring it to a boil, a touch of soy sauce and salt. I add the chicken back in, together with some parsley. I could even add pasta, and that would make a nice dinner tonight. I put you the full recipe in the link below, and if you're wondering about that deep color, there's a simple way to get it. Leave the onions unpeeled. There's a lot of color in the skins. Char them slightly, and then with the garlic, add them for the last hour of cooking. Liquid gold. Now you get both deep chicken flavor and fresh vegetable brightness. Now that's dinner. Now let's take it further. This one used in professional kitchens, filled to the brim with bones, and longer cooking causes more gelatin and more depth. Slow cooking leads to clarity, more presence. Now, let's make the workhorse of a Michelin kitchen. As before, but this time I cook it for 8 hours. Remember I said if you cook it that long, it will be a little bit cloudy, but what you get is more gelatin, more flavor, more kokumi. So the vegetables infusion is simple. Roughly chopped vegetables and herb stalks, peppercorn and bay leaf. No charred onion this time, because I want to use this for a sauce velouté or white risotto. I want that flexibility. Everything goes in with the bones, and again I give it 30 minutes so any remaining loose proteins can settle. And in this case I can even use celery leaves, because added at this stage they keep the freshness, whereas with long cooking they would turn quite bitter. I love to remove the fat when cold and reduce the stock down and make stock cubes, and then I freeze them and have them always on hand. Now, can it go even better? Yes, it does, with one simple step. This is the kind of chicken stock I built my kitchen on when I was awarded 18 out of 19 points at Gourmio at barely 25. And I'm not telling you that to impress you, but to show you what's possible with something this simple. With one small step, pot, butter, lightly roasted chicken bones, the butter and roasted chicken smell. Magic. White wine, then completely chill. Cold water, boil, simmer, everything like before with the vegetable infusion. Now you have something deeper, rounder, with just enough acidity to make everything taste more like itself. Imagine that in a risotto. But there's one last thing. I promised you something earlier. Different cooking times, different setting results, because the more gelatin in your stock, the more depth and life it gives to everything you cook. So let's test it. See this? See this? And this? What do you think? And that's why your soups and risottos and sauces have never quite felt the same as in a restaurant. This is not about recipes, it's about understanding. And once you see it, you cannot unsee it. So check out my video on steak sauces to see this stock in full swing. Enjoy your chicken bouillon, and I'll see you next time.